goes. Just the way it goes. Degrees.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Before we get started, I got one more quick, amazing thing out there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HOOKUP on Music, episode 62. We've got a lot of good stuff planned for tonight, so let's get started. This past Friday on At the Show podcast, we talked about a really awesome movie, Roadhouse. In the movie Roadhouse, there was a character. The character's name was Pat McGurn. Pat McGurn was played by John Doe. John Doe, you may not know who that is. You may. John Doe is from a band called X. Yes, X. They are from Los Angeles, and that's kind of how we're going to get started tonight. Is just kind of going to talk about X for a couple minutes, kind of get us going, and then we're going to slide into some more complex stuff. So let's get started. Again, this episode, you have to check it out. About the show it was really awesome talking about Roadhouse, but we mentioned John Doe and we mentioned X. And I always think about just how awesome X is, especially when I think about a song like this, True Love Part 2. Really, really, really awesome song. And again, the band themselves were from Los Angeles, and right out of the gate, they were deemed a punk band. Okay. John Doe was vocalist and bassist. Lead vocalist was Exene Cervenka. I believe I've said that correctly. And really just out of the gate, awesome band. What's really cool is their debut album, which is titled Los Angeles. Ironically, they're from Los Angeles, was produced by Doors keyboardist Ray Manzarek. You may be saying, who is Ray Manzarek? Ray Manzarek is from the south side of Chicago. So it's really cool that somebody from the south side of Chicago produced the album, and from the Doors, this debut from X, which is actually a really awesome album. If you get a chance to check it out, a lot of good songs on that, including a cover of the Doors' Soul Kitchen, but just really, really, really awesome band. And they've been around and they have played Riot Fest, which a lot of people enjoy and seem to go to. And they started in 1977, and today they are still performing. So again, it was awesome to talk about Roadhouse, and it's awesome that John Doe, bassist and lead singer of X, was in that movie. So again, check that out. Check X out. They are really, really awesome. Last week also, we talked about a new band, Ducks Limited. I cannot get this song out of my head. Oh, I already got it. Really awesome band, Ducks Limited, new band. Check them out. Newest album, Harm's Way. Again, 27 minutes, so you're not really in deep into a long thing to check something new out. But that song, Hollowed Out, has definitely been sticking with me. But the whole album is actually really good. A lot of different sounds. The band themselves hail from Canada. They are a duo, which is cool again that they come together to make this awesome, awesome sound. And they do a good job at it, really. They do a really good job at doing that. But check that out. That is really, 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 really good. Goody. Hey, my good man, how are you? Always appreciate anybody who is tuning in. So thank you very much. Got a lot of cool stuff planned. We're going to try to answer some questions. Last night, if you have not yet, go back and check out here on the channel. It's getting drafty in here. We did an amazing, amazing 90s albums draft. Lots and lots of good picks across the board. After it was all done, thought about so many more picks that could have been picked. But across the board, anybody who you vote for in this, you're not going to be disappointed from my standpoint of excellent albums. Well, that could be because I own a lot of the albums that we talked about, but go back and check that out because the 90s definitely had lots and lots of awesome albums. We talked about everything from Pantera's Cowboys from Hell, In Utero by Nirvana. We even talked about Lauryn Hill, and all of that was really, really, really cool. And me, myself, two things here. It's great that this is being brought up right now. I myself here made, well, what I would deem one blunder. Okay, I would deem me putting Rage's hip hop as a blunder because I've always deemed them to be metal. But the reason I did put them as hip hop was because if you go and you ask, and he has said in multiple interviews, Zach De La Roca, lead singer of Rage Against the Machine, I really don't think he ever deemed himself to be in a metal band, a new metal band, alternative band. He himself says that he writes hip hop lyrics. Now I know Tom Morello and the rest of the band themselves, because they were an Audio Slave, which again, does not present your natural hip hop tone, but I was kind of trying to use the lyrics and the also what the vocalist has said in interviews, and I know it wasn't going to work in the show, and that one did not. But Dr. Dre, okay, this is very awesome that this is being brought up because I picked Dr. Dre's The Chronic as a what's that called? As a pop album. And definitely, I know, again, myself personally, if you were to ask me before this show, would I put that number one as a pop album? No, it's not. It's a lot of other things before it would ever be a pop album. But that being said, I probably spent a lot of time today, too much time, thinking about and researching just what is pop, like pop music. Like, is it a style? Is pop a genre? And honestly, I came back with so many, so many, so many different things. Okay. The Billboard, if you follow those guys, they say that, they had a little countdown and it was like the 100 greatest pop songs of all time, and Nothing But a G Thing was on that list. Honestly, for me, the reason I put it on this list that we did was because I was trying to fit in another really good album. See, I was honestly under the impression that we were just trying to vote on awesome albums here. So that's why I kind of put it there. I by no mean or stretch think that number one, Dr. Dre's The Chronic, is a pop album, but it sold a lot of albums. And when you start to do some research in the pop genre, you come up with quite a lot of different things. Okay. I've seen everything that pop isn't a genre because a genre has to have at least one thing in common through all of the bands that are in it. So a lot of people have said that the Beatles are pop, and then also Britney Spears is pop. But besides the fact that they've sold a lot of albums, they don't have anything else in common. So there is a lot of different things, pop rock, this and that. You can go on forever about this topic. And honestly, it's a great, 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 great musical conversation, and one that is just honestly has left me thinking. And honestly, I would have put Dr. Dre in the hip hop or rap. Honestly, I think Dr. Dre is more rap than hip hop, but that's another conversation that I was looking through today that you could spend quite a lot of time just thinking about a lot of the different artists that are in these different kind of groups. But that's what's cool about the draft is that you get to make some decisions that some people could say that's not a good decision, and that's why I love music, and that's why I love doing the show. Is you open up a conversation. See, I'm the type of person, and it's always going to be true, is that and you've seen it on there twice, not this time, but the time before, is I could easily change my idea. And it's not because I'm an undecisive person. It's because I love that many albums. And in this case, I was trying to be, because honestly, Brian, the co-host, he was talking about Metallica, and we were talking about when Metallica, it's not a pop album, but it was surely a huge popular album. And I know that's back to the genres, not genres, but really, really interesting. And it was really awesome. So go back and check out that show and all of that. But that being said, we tonight have some questions that have been thrown our way, and we're going to try to see a little bit what our opinions are on these questions, because the next 3 weeks we have 3 weeks worth of guests coming up. Starting this next Wednesday, please, please, please tune in. Our good friend, he has stopped by at the show a couple times. Huge musical fan, Mailman Jack. He will be stopping by the show next Wednesday to talk about a lot of awesome things that we're going to try to cram into 30 minutes. So please, if you have time, please stop by and check that all out, because it's going to be good. But that being said, let's go ahead and start picking through a couple of these questions here. Let's take a look here and see right here. Have you had any hilarious band meetings? This was a question that has been thrown my way quite a lot. Like, have you ever met anyone, any famous artists that you would deem to be a ridiculous experience, or something that maybe didn't go as well as you had hoped? And this goes out for out there too. If you later are also tuning in, or you're listening to the audio, reach out to us, because I'm sure everybody's got great stories of bands that they've met that maybe didn't go as well as you had thought. In 1999, I had made my way to the Warp Tour. Okay, and at the Warp Tour, this happened this year. A certain artist had to have made his debut.
Hi, my name is.
Eminem. He's at the Warp Tour. Okay, we watched his set. Awesome set to watch somebody like Eminem at the very, very beginning of his career, playing a side stage at Tinley Park. Because at the Warp Tour, they didn't use the main stage. They just kind of used some like 3 or 4 stages off into the parking lot. And to see Eminem in this setting was just really, really awesome and really, really incredible. But that being said, after the fact, he's standing over in a tent, and I'll never forget, I walk up to him, okay, and I'm really, really close. And, I'm all of 6'3", and he was a lot shorter than that. And it was really kind of not awesome, but awesome to be just standing next to Eminem. But then what was really, really kind of crazy was that behind Eminem was like a 7'7" bodyguard. And that's why probably nobody would ever go up and literally mess with him. And now definitely nobody's going to mess with him because of probably his stature. But and of course, he's had a huge career that at some point I'm sure we will talk about here at the Hookup. But being at the Warp Tour and running into Eminem, in the same Warp Tour, you got Seven Dust, Blink-182, a lot of Pennywise, huge Pennywise fan. They were really, really awesome that year. But again, seeing Eminem in kind of a smaller setting at the Warp Tour was definitely something that was memorable, and also kind of ridiculous, because you're standing next to this guy, and then you see him like perform at the Super Bowl, or you see him perform on some of these videos of him performing in big stadiums, and you say to yourself, wow, where did the time go? But that being said, that's something that always kind of sticks with me. I remember also not really a flip-flop. I was at a concert. It was Corrosion of Conformity and Machine Head. and right across the street in Chicago, okay, was at the Metro is of course Wrigley Field where the Cubs play. But that day, the Dodgers were in town, and it could have been the Dodgers or the Mets, but Mike Piazza was at the concert, and we're standing up in the balcony, and he's like standing, two people over. So to be at a concert and see a famous baseball player, standing two people over, rocking out, is always awesome. At one Ozfest I was at, I saw Wesley Willis there. If you are not familiar with Wesley Willis, definitely go back and check out his work. It's deep in super ridiculousness of awesome. I don't know if I've ever said that before on here, but then again, Wesley Willis is definitely something only to be described if you've heard it. But just some awesome experiences there. Some concert pet peeves. Okay, there's quite. I hear a lot of different recently concert pet peeves. I hear a lot of people, I'm at a concert and I'm standing and the people behind me are yelling to sit down. I've heard that. Um, I don't know really when it comes down to it on that one, how I don't know if I have a hard line stand because maybe in certain concerts or certain people can't stand, but generally, if 90% of the audience is on their feet, you can't, in my regard, get too upset. But I don't want to step on anyone's feet if I'm wrong about that, because that's again, but or somebody where maybe the concert isn't as loud as you want the concert to be. And what ends up happening is the person behind you is singing the lyrics to the song of the person who you actually paid, and you hear them more than you hear the people up on the stage. I heard that recently from a family member. They went and saw um, even somebody. I think it was like Chris Stapleton, which he's okay, I guess. But they're watching Chris Stapleton, and the person behind them is singing Chris Stapleton. You paid all this money for the concert. It's just a little bit redundant. That I get it though. Maybe some people just are in such a zone that they want to sing, or maybe they've had a couple beverages and they're just having a really good time. I don't know how you stand on it, but again, those are the things. A couple other things as I've seen, especially recently, is people at concerts who seem like they're not even going to make it to the main act. They're so hammered that by the time the opening act is even, they're gone. And to me, I guess I understand having a great time, but to the fact when again, concert tickets aren't cheap these days. They're not like they were in the concert ticket booklet that I got, where you're going to see, prime acts back to that Warp Tour. I'm sure they're, it was $30, right around $30. So you say to yourself, again, you don't want to get too messed up, and you're missing out on something awesome. And I've seen that quite a lot. I've seen that, of course, at music festivals, definitely at a couple Metallica concerts I've been at, but just definitely want to just all together, enjoy the concert. That's really kind of what it is all about from the perspective of the people there. What was your favorite worst concert? Okay, this is a kind of a lot goes into this, because I've seen a lot of concerts, and what makes up a bad concert? Because a favorite concert, I think, to me personally, it's easier for me to pick, because I've had a lot of awesome times at concerts. But a worst concert, what goes into that? Was the sound garbage? Was did the band sound not the way that you thought that they should sound? It all really depends. And when I think back to a lot of the concerts I've been to, the majority of the time, the band sounds pretty good. But then again, there's these times where what's the word I'm saying? You're not just you're not blown away. And recently, and by recently, I mean within the last 10 years, I was gifted some free tickets to see Sublime in Rome. Now, this isn't the Sublime from the 90s who made that album. This is Sublime with Rome. And Rome is somebody new that joined the band. But again, not the worst. That wasn't the worst, but it's pretty close. The sound was awful. Now, I've heard other people tell me that they've put on really good shows, but again, recently, Rome has been left, and they have brought back original lead singer, Bradley Noel's, son to join the band. So maybe it was time to part, and maybe now this new incarnation will bring back that classic sound. I don't know. It's tough for me to come up with worse concerts because I try to find something, awesome in a lot of the things that I see. Honestly, I'll be honest. I think it was at Rothbury Music Festival. I saw Bob Dylan. Man, he couldn't have been more snoozy. And that's why when I see him coming to town, I've seen Willie Nelson a couple times, and Willie can put on a show. And when you're saying to yourself, Willie is going to, outstage, Bob and not put you to sleep. Not to say Willie would, but Willie's been around a long time, but so's Bob. I don't know. Bob Dylan, I think, is going to be my pick for the worst concert because on that same night was I think Nas, I saw, and or the day before, there was a lot of awesome acts. And in the middle of seeing all these awesome acts and seeing Dead and Company and seeing Zappa play Zappa and seeing Guster, and not that all these bands, might not be everybody's favorite, but again, Bob Dylan, you're expecting a little bit more. But again, my favorite one is pretty easy. I always enjoyed my very first concert I got to pick from, and that's Metallica. A lot of people don't like Load, and that's okay. Some people do like Load, and that's okay too. But it was the Load tour, and they were awesome. And I've always just been a huge fan, and it's cool to when you're at that young age and you get to see the band because again, I've seen them 3, 4 times after that. And so your first time generally is sometimes the best time. And in that case for Metallica, that's kind of how it worked. This is a huge question. Who's your favorite guitarist, bassist, drummer, singer? There's quite a lot. I enjoy quite a lot of guitarists and bassists and drummers and singers. I mean, right off the top of my head, Stevie Ray Vaughan is awesome. I'm going to just try to put together here a make-believe band here. I mean, I'm going to go with um, Stevie Ray Vaughan on guitar. We'll go with Bootsy Collins from Parliament on bass. Can you imagine that? Stevie Ray Vaughan and Bootsy Collins. Okay. Singing. Oh, we're gonna have to get back to the singer. Okay, we'll get to the drummer here. Who are we going to have drum this band? And it's if you're looking for ridiculous or crazy and trying to just make this some smorgasbord of what is going to happen or what is going to go on, you may go Keith Moon from the Who. So you're like, what, the Who? So you got who do we got all on here? We got Keith Moon, we got Bootsy Collins, and then we have Stevie Ray Vaughan. So who's gonna sing for all of this? And it's again out there. I'll leave it up to you. You could have quite a lot of different peoples who could sing for this, and it could be, very, very, very interesting. I mean, it would all depend on when this band was put together. Are they going to be coming when in tomorrow's time? Or it's really kind of all just up to you. But for me, if you're going in the 70s, you might pick David Bowie. Maybe in the 80s, last night, a great pick was Depeche Mode's Violator. Maybe someone like Dave Gahan, really switch it up and get something different there. You know what? In the 90s, let's go to Trent Reznor. He's got a voice. You could do this forever. And that's why I love the who's your favorite conversations, because it also has to do with in the moment, how are you feeling and what is the for the what you enjoy. Your favorite or worst venue you've been to? My favorite venue I ever been to was in Irvine, California. Okay, it was really kind of awesome. There is a picture if you're watching it live, but if you happen to listen to the audio later, um, you, the lawn was kind of really up high up on this hill, and you were like kind of looking downwards. Okay, at this concert was the Prophets of Rage, which is ironic because last night I said Rage was hip hop, so this was um, the band with Be Real and Chuck D, two more guys that definitely were influential in rap and hip hop. But there was with them with Jane's Addiction and Nine Inch Nails. And just definitely really awesome to be in this California setting, seeing those bands. And what was also very kind of cool was that because Jane's Addiction was kind of from right down the block, they headlined the whole thing. Where I was thinking going into this, because I was out there to visit a friend, and I was thinking Nine Inch Nails was headlining. So Jane's Addiction headlined the show, and being in a different venue in a different state, it's incredible. You know, I've heard stories of the Gorge. I've heard which is in Washington. I've heard stories of Red Rocks, which is in Denver. Lots and lots of cool venues. You know, if you like more indoor venues, you know, I've heard positives and negatives about Aragon Ballroom, you know, which now is, I think, something name in front of the name Aragon Ballroom, which is always a little disappointing when they change up the names and stuff like that. But the worst venue I've ever been to, honestly, I think it was the Taste of Chicago at the Petrullo band shell. Anybody that I've happened to have caught there, which I've seen a couple of the free Taste of Chicago concerts. And those are used to be really awesome. Awesome in the fact that you got to go and listen to some of these bands for free. I mean, I saw Cheap Trick for free, Goo Goo Dolls for free, Steve Miller Band for free. They don't do that anymore, sadly. But again, the sound, though, that's the problem. You're going out there, you're having a good time. But if you're going out there and you're looking to be judged on what is the sound at these venues, sound wasn't, to me, wasn't very good. And always a little disappointed in that, because all of those bands are awesome. So if it was great sound, it could have been really, really awesome. But all really, really good questions here tonight. A little bit more going through here before we move on is that digging through, what did I do with it? Digging through some albums today. Found this awesome here Marvin Gaye album where he's in a superhero here costume here. I got it over the screen if you're watching. If you're listening, it's called Super Hits, and it's Marvin, and he's in a superhero costume, and he's flying through the air, and he's holding a lady, and it's just loaded with awesome, awesome, awesome songs. Big fan of his. I heard it through the grapevine, but also a big fan of CCR's. I heard it through the grapevine. I think they're both very awesome. But this is just loaded with awesome songs. I'll Be Doggone is a really awesome Marvin Gaye song. If you have not heard it, Baby Don't You Do It is great. His version is great. The band's version is really, really awesome. Just really a greatest hits album, and cool because I've never seen it on CD or anything else, and seeing Marvin Gaye in a cool superheroes outfit is definitely awesome. A couple of my buddies here on the network had a debate recently, and it's which Red Hot Chili Peppers album is better? Is it Blood Sugar Sex Magic? Is it this one? By the way, the CD here, got it out. Was thinking about it, took a listen to it. Great album. Because last night we talked about the Blood Sugar Sex Magic as a really awesome album. Remember when this album came out, Minor Thing, the track that is 3 tracks from the end, definitely a good album. And if you're a fan of the Chili Peppers, worth really checking into. Number 2, kind of in the same regards of Mr. Marvin Gaye, and that is Bobby Womack. Big Bobby Womack fan, and a big fan of the album Understanding, a title track that kicks off the album Understanding. If you have not heard this song and you like awesome things with great grooves, hip hop, you like rock, whatever, this is for everybody. This album is really good, and Bobby Womack produces it. Bobby Womack, again, is a great guitar player, and Understanding really showcases all of that. We could go into his story a whole episode, but so many good songs on this album. Last track, it's called Harry Hippie, really, really good song. It's about his brother, which anybody who sings about their brother, you think it's going to be sappy. He kind of sings about how his brother kind of can't do anything right. Interesting track, awesome album. Check that out. Recently, the Black Crowes have come out with a new album, and I was looking back at an old album that maybe caused a little controversy back in the day, and that is the Amorica album cover here. And that is because, well, it was blacked out and censored. So if you have a copy, like I just showed on the camera, it would be a little bit more than the copy that they ended up censoring because of the front cover. But again, this is another album that if you're into the Black Crowes or you're into the newest album, you got to check it out. And thank you so much, folks. We have already reached our ending to our show. I know time flies quickly. 30 minutes is here and then it is gone. What is going to be here is this Friday at 7 p.m. We got a double dose, some really awesome stuff going on here at the channel. First that we're going to have is At the Show is back, and we're going to be talking about a couple classics. Here's the song you may be familiar with from the movies we'll be talking about. Ghostbusters 1 and 2, we will be covering them at the show. And right after At the Show, you could stick on around and we're going to have some of the awesome gents talking about WrestleMania weekend, which honestly I am super excited about. I am a huge fan, so I will be watching that. You should too. It's going to be awesome. Next week, remember to tune in live at 7 p.m. because we're going to have Mailman Jack on. It's going to be a good time. My name is Tony. I hope you had a good time talking about everything from X to amazing concert venues and all of the best. Until next time, please, everybody out there, go out and buy some albums. Go out there and have some fun. We enjoy sharing all of this with you, and we will continue. Have a good week. Take care, everybody. Good night.